Are you stuck in a spiritual cycle, replaying the same situations, emotions, or relationships over and over again? If you've been feeling trapped, wondering why life seems to keep hitting the rewind button, you've clicked on the right video. Today, we're going to break down the truth about these cycles, what they mean, why they happen, and most importantly, how to break free for good. Life isn't random, and these repeating patterns are no accident. They're spiritual signals trying to guide you toward growth and transformation. But here's the catch. If you don't recognize them for what they are, you risk staying stuck indefinitely. What if I told you that understanding this truth could be the key to finally moving forward? In this video, you'll discover how to identify these cycles, decode the lessons they hold, and take actionable steps to escape them with clarity and divine guidance. By the end, you won't just understand your spiritual journey better, you'll feel empowered to move forward with purpose and confidence. Let's get down with this life-changing message, starting with how to recognize these patterns keeping you in the loop. Have you ever noticed how some situations in your life feel eerily familiar, as if you've lived them before? Maybe it's the same type of relationship that leaves you feeling unfulfilled, the same arguments with different people, or even the same mistakes you vowed never to make again. These aren't coincidences, they're clues. Recognizing these repeating patterns is the first step in uncovering whether you're stuck in a spiritual cycle. Think about it. Life is constantly teaching us lessons, but when we don't fully learn or internalize them, the lesson doesn't disappear. It reappears, often disguised but still persistent. It's like failing a test in school. The same test will eventually come back around until you pass it. These patterns aren't here to punish you. They're here to help you grow. But how can you spot them? Start by looking at your relationships. Do you find yourself drawn to the same types of people who ultimately bring you the same pain or frustration? This isn't just bad luck. It's a spiritual signal. The pattern is trying to show you something you need to confront, whether it's setting boundaries, valuing yourself more, or recognizing unhealthy behaviors. Then, consider your emotions. Do you often feel stuck in cycles of fear, anger, or self-doubt? Emotional patterns are often the most telling because they point directly to unresolved inner work. For example, if you're frequently triggered by criticism, it could reveal an area where you need healing or growth. Lastly, reflect on your life's circumstances. Are you facing recurring financial struggles, job disappointments, or health issues? While not everything is within your control, repeated challenges often carry hidden messages about habits, choices, or perspectives that need to shift. Here's where it gets interesting. These patterns are deeply tied to your spiritual evolution. They're not random, and they're not here to break you. They're here to wake you up. By acknowledging them, you start to peel back the layers of your spiritual journey, seeing what's beneath the surface. But recognizing the pattern is just the beginning. It's the key that unlocks the door. What lies behind that door is where the real transformation begins. And don't think for a second that these patterns are obvious. Many people go through life blaming external circumstances, thinking, "Why does this always happen to me?" instead of asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" The shift from blaming to reflecting is a game changer. It's the moment you stop being a passive participant in your life and start actively engaging in your spiritual growth. But there's a twist. Even when you spot a pattern, breaking it isn't as simple as snapping your fingers. Why? Because these cycles are rooted in deeper, unresolved lessons, ones that often hide in plain sight. As you'll discover in the next part of this journey, these lessons hold the answers to why you've been stuck and what you need to do to move forward. Recognizing repeating patterns isn't about judgment or self-criticism. It's about awareness. And that awareness is your first step toward freedom. So ask yourself, what patterns have been showing up in my life? What am I being called to see that I've been missing? Because once you recognize the pattern, you're no longer a prisoner of it. You're an observer, ready to understand the lesson it's trying to teach. And as we continue, you'll learn exactly how to uncover those lessons and take your first steps toward breaking free. Recognizing the pattern is the first step, but the real question is, why do these patterns exist in the first place? The answer lies in unresolved spiritual lessons. Every cycle you find yourself in, whether it's repeating relationships, familiar struggles, or persistent emotions, is tied to a lesson your soul needs to learn. Until that lesson is fully understood and integrated, the cycle continues. Think of life as a spiritual classroom. Each experience you encounter is a teacher, designed to reveal something about yourself, your values, or your purpose. But here's the challenge. Most lessons aren't obvious. They often come wrapped in discomfort, conflict, or confusion, making them easy to overlook or avoid. That's why many of us end up stuck, repeating the same scenarios, hoping for a different outcome, but not addressing the root cause. For example, imagine you keep entering relationships where you feel unappreciated. At first, it's easy to blame the other person, but what if the pattern is trying to show you something deeper, like the need to value yourself and set boundaries? The lesson isn't about changing the other person. It's about changing what you accept and allow in your life. Unresolved lessons often show up as emotional triggers. If certain situations or people bring out strong reactions in you, it's a sign that something beneath the surface needs attention. Anger, jealousy, fear, these emotions aren't random. They're messengers. They're pointing to wounds that haven't healed, beliefs that no longer serve you, or fears that are holding you back. The truth is, these lessons are here for your growth, not your punishment. They're like a compass guiding you toward the areas of your life that need transformation. But here's where most people get stuck. They resist the lesson. They avoid the discomfort, deny the problem, or distract themselves with busyness, hoping the cycle will resolve itself. It won't. Ignoring the lesson only ensures that it will return, often with greater intensity. Here's something to reflect on. What if the very thing you're resisting is the key to your breakthrough? The longer you avoid the lesson, the more persistent the cycle becomes. It's like a gentle knock on the door that turns into a loud pounding if you don't answer. This is why awareness is so crucial. When you stop seeing the cycle as a punishment and start seeing it as a teacher, everything changes. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" That shift in perspective can unlock a world of insight and clarity. But awareness alone isn't enough. To truly resolve these lessons, you need to engage with them. This means sitting with the discomfort, asking the hard questions, and being willing to grow through the process. It's not easy, but it's necessary. Every step you take toward understanding and resolving the lesson brings you closer to freedom from the cycle. And here's the most empowering truth. Once you've learned the lesson, the cycle loses its power. It no longer needs to repeat because its purpose has been fulfilled. Imagine the relief of breaking free, of no longer feeling weighed down by the same struggles. That's what's waiting for you on the other side of these lessons. As we move forward, we'll dive deeper into one of the most powerful tools for identifying and resolving these lessons: your emotions. These triggers are like neon signs, pointing to the areas of your life that need healing. Understanding them will not only help you break the cycle, but also guide you toward lasting spiritual growth. Have you ever wondered why certain things make you react so strongly? Maybe it's a comment someone makes, a situation that feels unfair, or even a fleeting memory that stirs something deep inside you. These reactions, known as emotional triggers, are more than just passing feelings. They're clues, like breadcrumbs, leading you to the unresolved lessons and deeper truths within your spiritual journey. Emotions are the language of the soul. When you experience intense feelings like anger, jealousy, sadness, or fear, your inner self is trying to communicate something important. The challenge is that most people either suppress these emotions or let them control their actions, never stopping to ask, why do I feel this way? What is this really about? Take a moment to reflect. What emotions keep recurring in your life? Perhaps it's frustration in your relationships, a deep fear of failure, or a sense of unworthiness. These emotions aren't random. They're tied to patterns and cycles that are trying to get your attention. For example, if you consistently feel unappreciated, the trigger might be pointing to a need for self-acceptance or stronger boundaries. But here's the twist. Emotional triggers are often rooted in past experiences. It could be a childhood wound, an unresolved hurt, or a belief you've carried for years that no longer serves you. These buried emotions resurface in your present life, creating a loop of reactions that feel familiar but are deeply tied to something unresolved. Imagine you're constantly triggered by criticism. On the surface, it might seem like the problem is external, the person delivering the critique. But what if the real issue lies in your own fear of not being enough? The trigger is a mirror, reflecting something within you that needs healing. This is where curiosity becomes your greatest tool. Instead of reacting impulsively, pause and ask yourself, why does this bother me so much? What belief or fear is behind this reaction? What can I learn about myself from this moment? By approaching your triggers with curiosity instead of judgment, you begin to uncover the deeper layers of your spiritual journey. And once you understand what your emotions are pointing to, you can start to release the grip they have on you. But be warned, this process isn't always comfortable. It requires honesty, vulnerability, and a willingness to sit with discomfort. Yet, it's through this discomfort that you find clarity and growth. Emotional triggers are not your enemies. They're your guides. They're shining a light on the areas of your life that need healing, growth, or transformation. As you start to decode these triggers, you may notice a pattern. They're often tied to recurring situations or relationships. For example, you might find that the same type of person keeps entering your life, triggering the same feelings over and over. This isn't a coincidence. It's a sign. The universe is giving you opportunities to face and resolve these emotions so you can move forward. What's even more powerful is that, as you begin to address your triggers, the cycles that once felt inescapable will start to shift. You'll notice that situations that once upset you no longer have the same power. You'll feel lighter, freer, and more in control of your emotional world. But here's the key. This transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey of self-awareness and spiritual alignment. The more you engage with your emotions and uncover their deeper meaning, the more equipped you'll be to break free from the cycles holding you back. In the next part of this journey, we'll explore how to take what you've learned from these emotional clues and use it to break free from the spiritual cycles entirely. Awareness is the first step, but action is what sets you free. Let's dive into the practical steps that will help you transform these insights into lasting change. Awareness is the spark that ignites transformation. Once you've recognized the repeating patterns and decoded the emotional triggers that hold you captive, the question becomes, how do you break free? Understanding the cycle is important, but stepping out of it requires intentional action, deep self-reflection, and spiritual alignment. This is where the real work begins, and where the freedom you've been seeking becomes possible. The first step is to confront the truth about your cycle with honesty. It's easy to fall into denial, blaming others or external circumstances for the loops you're caught in. But the truth is, breaking free starts with taking full responsibility for your growth. This doesn't mean blaming yourself. It means owning your journey and recognizing that the power to change begins within you. Start with mindfulness. Pay attention to the situations and emotions that trigger you in the present moment. Instead of reacting impulsively, pause and observe what's happening. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now and why? What does this situation remind me of? What patterns am I replaying? And what lesson might I be missing? Mindfulness creates space between your emotions and your reactions, allowing you to respond with clarity instead of being controlled by the cycle. This space is where awareness lives, and it's where change begins. Once you've cultivated mindfulness, the next step is to reflect and release. Sit with the lessons you've uncovered and be honest about what needs to change. Are you holding on to beliefs that no longer serve you? Are there wounds you've avoided healing? Are you staying in relationships, jobs, or situations out of fear or habit, even though they keep you stuck? Releasing what no longer serves you can be difficult. It often involves letting go of comfort zones, confronting fears, or forgiving yourself and others. This is where prayer and self-reflection become essential tools. Prayer invites divine guidance, allowing you to lean on a higher power as you navigate this process. Self-reflection helps you uncover the deeper truths about what's been holding you back. Here's an exercise to try. Visualize the cycle you're stuck in as a looped path. Picture yourself stepping off that path and onto a new one. What does the new path look like? What are you leaving behind, and what are you stepping into? This simple visualization can help you set a clear intention to break free from the cycle. Another powerful tool is journaling. Write down the patterns you've noticed, the triggers you've identified, and the lessons you believe you're being called to learn. Be honest and specific. Journaling isn't just about getting thoughts onto paper. It's about creating a dialogue with your inner self and inviting clarity into your process. But here's the key. Breaking free isn't just about understanding the cycle. It's about changing your actions. This is where many people get stuck. Awareness without action keeps you in the same loop. To truly break free, you must take steps that align with the lessons you've learned. For example, if your cycle involves being taken advantage of because you struggle to set boundaries, start practicing saying no. If your cycle revolves around self-doubt, take small, intentional actions to build your confidence. Action creates momentum, and momentum breaks the loop. Most importantly, breaking free requires faith. Trust that you're not alone in this journey. Divine guidance is always available, and as you align yourself with the lessons and take intentional steps, doors will begin to open. You'll feel lighter, more empowered, and ready to move forward. As you continue this journey, you'll find that breaking free isn't a one-time event. It's a process. But every step you take is a victory, and every layer you peel back brings you closer to the freedom and purpose that await you. In the next part of this journey, we'll explore how divine guidance plays a vital role in moving forward. Breaking free is just the beginning. Trusting in divine timing will guide you to the next phase of your spiritual evolution. Breaking free from a spiritual cycle is a powerful achievement, but it's not the end of the journey. It's the beginning of something far greater. Moving forward requires more than just self-awareness and action. It calls for trust in divine timing and guidance, knowing that your path is uniquely designed by a higher power to lead you toward growth, purpose, and fulfillment. You've likely heard the saying, God's delays are not God's denials. This couldn't be more true when stepping into a new chapter of your life. After breaking free from a cycle, it's natural to feel impatient, wanting immediate clarity or results. But divine timing operates on a schedule far beyond human understanding. Trusting this timing means embracing the idea that every step you take is preparing you for something greater, even if it doesn't seem that way in the moment. Here's the key. Your journey is guided by something far greater than your own plans. When you align with divine guidance, you stop forcing things to happen and start allowing them to unfold. This doesn't mean being passive. It means taking intentional steps while trusting that God is directing your path. One of the most powerful ways to move forward is through prayer. Prayer isn't just about asking for what you want. It's about opening yourself to divine wisdom. As you pray, ask for clarity, courage, and alignment with your higher purpose. Then listen. Divine guidance often speaks in whispers, in your intuition, through meaningful coincidences, or in the quiet stillness of your heart. Another way to stay aligned is by practicing gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have, creating a mindset of abundance and receptivity. When you're grateful for where you are, even in moments of uncertainty, you're affirming your trust in the process. Gratitude keeps you grounded, reminding you that every experience, even the challenging ones, plays a role in your growth. But let's not forget the importance of action. Trusting divine timing doesn't mean sitting back and waiting for miracles to happen. It means taking inspired action, steps that feel aligned with the lessons you've learned and the guidance you've received. For example, if you've been called to let go of a toxic relationship, your action might be setting boundaries and seeking connections that uplift you. If you've been stuck in fear, your action might be stepping out in faith, even when the outcome is uncertain. Remember, moving forward with divine guidance often involves stepping into the unknown. This can feel scary, but it's also where transformation happens. Think of it like crossing a bridge shrouded in mist. You can't see the other side, but you trust that each step will bring you closer to your destination. This trust is what strengthens your faith and builds resilience. Here's another truth to hold on to. Not every door is meant to open. As you move forward, you might encounter obstacles or closed doors that feel like setbacks, but these are often divine interventions, redirecting you towards something better. Trust that what's meant for you will never pass you by. If a door closes, it's because another one is waiting to open, one that's perfectly aligned with your purpose. And as you continue walking this path, you'll notice something remarkable. The more you trust in divine guidance, the more synchronicities and signs will appear. These are confirmations that you're on the right track, gentle reminders that you're not alone in your journey. Finally, don't underestimate the power of community. Surround yourself with people who support your growth and share your spiritual values. Divine guidance often comes through others. Whether it's a word of encouragement, a piece of advice, or simply someone walking alongside you in your journey. Moving forward with divine guidance is about surrendering control while stepping boldly into the future. It's about knowing that every experience, every lesson, and every challenge is part of a greater plan. You are being led, even when the path isn't clear. As we conclude this journey, let's tie everything together, recognizing patterns, resolving lessons, understanding triggers, and breaking cycles. This isn't just a process of change. It's a process of becoming. You're not just breaking free, you're stepping into the person you were always meant to be. Breaking free from a spiritual cycle is one of the most transformative steps you can take in your journey. Recognizing patterns, understanding unresolved lessons, decoding emotional triggers, and trusting in divine guidance aren't just steps. They're acts of courage that lead you closer to your purpose. You're no longer stuck in a loop. You're stepping into growth, freedom, and alignment with the person God created you to be. But this is just the beginning. Every lesson you've uncovered and every action you take moving forward is preparing you for what's next. Trust that the path ahead is guided, and remember that you're never alone in this journey. If this message resonated with you, don't stop here. Be sure to subscribe to this channel for more insights like these, messages that encourage, empower, and guide you on your spiritual path. And while you're here, let me recommend a video that builds perfectly on what we've just discussed. The spiritual meaning of constantly thinking about someone. Have you ever wondered why someone keeps appearing in your thoughts? Is it a sign, a lesson, or a reflection of something deeper within your soul? This video dives into the spiritual meaning behind those recurring thoughts and how they might be connected to your journey. If you enjoyed today's topic, you'll definitely want to check that one out. It might reveal another layer of insight you didn't even realize you needed. Thank you for watching, and remember, every step you take toward growth is a step closer to the divine purpose waiting for you. Don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who might need it, and comment below if this message spoke to your heart. You're on the right path. Keep going.